there foodies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to the foodie family. So today we're going to be making a delicious goat pepper pot. If you guys have never tried goat pepper pot, give it a try if you're looking for an alternative to beef and pork, or even possibly lamb. Goat works really well. So I know there's many ways to cooking this. Today I'll show you guys how I do my way so that we can have some delicious pepper pot around the holiday times. So let's get right into this video. For my pepper pot, this is how I like to do mine. Today I'm doing 3 pounds of goat cubes, and I like to season mine like at least one night before, because we know if you've ever made pepper pot with goat, it's a little harder to get the flavor in, and we can only use the goat for pepper pot. We don't really like the lamb too much, but the same way that you would do the goat, you can do the lamb the same way. To season my goat, here I have 2 tablespoons of fresh green seasoning. I will leave a link to this below. 1 large wiri pepper, 5 cloves with the head on. It's very important to have the head on because that's where most of the flavor is. 1 teaspoon of adobo, 1 teaspoon chicken bouillon, half a teaspoon of ginger powder, 1.5 teaspoon of black pepper. And this is something that people usually don't do, but since I said before, goat is a very difficult meat to get flavor in, and we usually add cinnamon to pepper pot. I like to go in with just a half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon on the meat of itself so I can get some of that flavor in. And then when I'm going to boil my pepper pot, I'm going to add the whole cinnamon sticks. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of Guyana dried thyme, and I'm gonna add some cassareep here so that I can start to build some flavors on the meat. And then when I'm going to boil my pepper pot, I will add the remaining that I would like to have. This is 2.5 tablespoons of cassareep that I'm adding in here to 3 pounds of goat meat. I'll just go in and mix this in. And by the way that I clean my goat meat or washed it per se, I soaked it down with some flour, salt, lemon juice from fresh lemons, and some vinegar for about 35 minutes so that I can get any bacteria or gaminess or so on out of the meat. Okay, I have everything that I want to put on my goat meat to season it. I'll allow this to season for about at least 12 hours in the fridge. This is how I like to do it. I know there's many ways to making pepper pot. Everybody has their own strong opinion as to how pepper pot is made, how it's not made. You guys, please be open to new ways to making this, because not everyone can eat beef and not everyone wants to eat lamb because of how it tastes. We don't eat beef because we're Hindus. So we have to find other ways to make pepper pot, and we would have found that goat tastes actually really good and we like it. So please respect the way that I'm making this pepper pot. Please do not come in my comments and say that is not how you do it or that is not what you use for pepper pot. Everyone has their own way. So you guys, please be kind in the comments. So with all that being said, I'm going to put this in my fridge and I'll leave it to season in there for about 12 hours. And then I'll come back and I'll show you how I cook my pepper pot. So I'll see you guys then. Okay guys, I'm back. It's the next day and it's time for me to cook my pepper pot. I just want to give you guys a quick look of what I'm going to be putting inside my pepper pot to boil it. Here I have some fresh thyme, chopped garlic, chopped birdman poke, some broadleaf thyme, some orange skin. This is optional. Some ginger, some freshly chopped wiri peppers, and for my spices I have some more cloves, allspice berry. This is also optional, but I like to use it. Salt to taste. As of right now, I'm going to be using 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I'm not sure if this will be enough. As I go along boiling the pepper pot, I'll add accordingly as to how sweet I'd like to have it. A large cinnamon stick, and of course a cassareep. The same thing goes for the cassareep. I'm not going to be putting a measurement exactly how much I use because everyone likes their pepper pot to taste different. So you just add your cassareep to your liking. And of course, this is what my goat is looking like after seasoning overnight. It looks really good. So now that you guys had a quick look of what I'm going to be using, I'm going to start putting the goat to steam out. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so to steam out my pepper pot and to also cook it, I'm going to be using my Dutch oven. For pepper pot, I like to use a nice thick heavy bottom pot because it holds the heat really well and it helps with not having the pepper pot burn. My pot is nice and hot here. I just added about 3 tablespoons of oil. I'm gonna go in with my goat. I have my goat in here. Now what I want to do is steam this goat out so that I can get out any moisture and possible rank water out of it, and at the same time it'll get like a nice slight browning on it, but more so I want to steam it out. So I have it here in the pot. I'm going to leave it, not touch it too much, and allow it to steam out. I have my heat on 4 for, of course, an electric stove because I don't want this to be too high because I don't want to rush it. I like to cook my pepper pot nice and slow. So I'll leave this, put the lid on it, and allow it to steam out, and I'll come back and show you what it's looking like when it's time for me to add everything in to boil. I'm not going to be adding anything else inside here right now. I'm going to leave it, let it cook and do its thing. So I'll see you when it's time to continue to add the rest of the things. Okay, so my goat is nice and steamed out. As you can see, all of the liquid that it would have possibly released has gone. The only thing that's left is a little bit of oil, and that's okay. My meat is nice and steamed out. Everything is decently cooked to where I like to have it, and as you notice, as this cooks, the meat got a little darker. That's what happens with cassareep. So keep that in mind when you're going to be adding cassareep to your pepper pot. If you want it on the darker side, add more, but monitor the taste at the same time. If you don't want it too dark, don't add too much. So here is where I'm going to go in with all of my first seasonings. My thyme, chopped garlic, orange skin, my chopped up marigman, broadleaf thyme, few pieces of ginger, and my chopped wiri peppers. Also, you might notice I'm not adding any onions to my pepper pot. I prefer to add garlic than onions. The garlic gives it a more preservative function. So instead of the onions having to have it spoiled, possibly, I just prefer to add garlic instead. I'll go in with my cloves, salt to taste, my allspice berries, my cinnamon stick, and my hot water. I don't want to add cold water to this because I'm going to reduce the temperature of what's already in the pot. I went in with about 6 cups of water for now. Depending on how the goat boils, that's how I'll know how much more water I need to top up my gravy with, but I'll go with the 6 cups for now because it has more than enough to boil. This is where I'll go in with my 1/4 cup sugar, and I'll add more if I need as the pepper pot continues to boil. I'll give this a stir. As you guys can see, the color of this gravy is, it's not too dark, but it's slightly light. I added my water before I added in the cassareep because I did add cassareep to season the goat. I wanted to see what color it's going to have. I'm just going to go in with a little bit more as of right now. About this much, a spoonful here. And remember, as I said, as pepper pot boils, it gets very dark if you add too much of the cassareep. So again, do monitor your cassareep. Make sure it doesn't have too much so it becomes black. But if you like your pepper pot on that very, very dark side, by all means, do what you like. I like mine in between because as the days go by, I'm going to need to hot this up so I keep it nice and fresh on the stove. And it is going to continue to get darker then too because I'm continuing to boil it for about a 5 to 10 minutes period. So take all of that in mind when you're going to be making your pepper pot if you've never made this before. Those that have made pepper pot is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So I have this nice and mixed in here. I think my sugar is dissolved. I'll put my lid on and I have my heat still at 4. I'll allow this to come up to a boil, and I'll show you periodically what it's looking like until it's finished. All right, let's check on the pepper pot. This is what it's looking like. It came up to a nice boil. As you can see, the liquid is starting to reduce and the meat is starting to tenderize. I don't think it's quite ready yet for me to take it off the heat. It still has a good amount to boil and more to do. I'm gonna allow this to keep going until it's fully cooked to where I can take it off and still have enough like hold in the meat so that when I'm gonna hot it up over the next couple days to eat it, it's not gonna all turn to mush on me. So I'll let this boil. All right, this is the last time I'm checking on the pepper pot. This is what it's looking like. It has officially reached to the stage where I like my meat to be cooked. It's far tender, but it still holds its shape so that for the next few days, like I would have said before, I need to keep hotting this up every morning and every night so that it stays nice and fresh. And a tip to note, when you make pepper pot, do not for any reason put a spoon that you would have used before. When I say that, I mean I'm using this spoon to stir the whole time, but it's only been in contact with the pepper pot and where I'm resting it. If you put a dirty spoon inside here, your pepper pot will instantly spoil. So that's just a little tip for you guys. This is what it's looking like. This is what the pieces of the meat are looking like. I did go in with more cassareep. I did go in with more sugar. I used a total of 3/4 cups of brown sugar because I found that I needed a little bit more sweetness to it to balance out the cassareep. So I'll serve this up and I'll show you guys exactly how it's looking. Okay, my foodies, this is what my pepper pot is looking like. It looks so good. I can't wait to dig into this. Let me bring it in closer so you guys can see how that meat absorbed all of that cassareep flavor and color. I have a good ratio of meat and bone here. And of course, to go along with my pepper pot, I always have to have flat bread. No other bread goes better with pepper pot than this type of bread. Thank you guys for watching today. Thank you for always supporting my channel. I hope you guys truly enjoyed this recipe. If you did, do hit that thumbs up button below. And of course, if you haven't subscribed as yet, do subscribe to my channel so you get notified when I post videos. And you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at I'mAFoodieGirl_94. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.